Okay, all the best to you guys. All the best. Start.
So sometimes it falls on the generation to be great. You can be great generation. Let your generation blossom, said Nelson Mandela. With that, I would like to wish you all a happy International Youth Day. International Youth Day is celebrated on August 12th. It aims to give voices to the initiatives and actions taken by young people. GCTC takes this opportunity to conduct this session to understand the voices of the youth. Who better than our youth ambassadors to give the voices of the youth of today? So in our panel, we have Riya Raj, Rishi Kanuvale, Nandini Chauhan, Anand Jayshetty, and Shrutika Chauhan. This year theme for International Youth Day is transforming food system, youth innovation for human and planetary health. It highlights the crucial need for inclusive support mechanisms that ensure youth continue to amplify efforts collectively and individually to restore the planet and protect life while integrating biodiversity. So, before we get into the specifics of the discussions, let us start by having opening statements from all our panelists about the role of youth in as being a change maker in the society. So, can we start off from Ms. Priya Raj?
Good evening, everyone. So, like Indra said, that youth play a major role in today's world, and all the global issues will find the best solutions with the help of youth in today's time. Also, since we know that approximately 1.2 billion young people aged between the years of 15 and 24 account for approximately 16% of the entire global population. So, keeping that in mind, we know how much their views, their perceptions, their point of views about a single issue matter.
Thank you, Riya Raj. We'll continue with Rishik's opening statement.
Uh, s- Many of the revolutions we see today were once started by people who were in their very young ages, and the new thought process that every new generation brings in has to go through a lot of effort and turbulence, and it is important for us youth to understand this and move forward with an courage that will never be sunk by lost hopes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishik. We'll continue with Nandini Chauhan.
Thank you, Indra. So I think that each young person today has to recognize the potential and the power that they have within themselves. Change begins from that, when you recognize that you are capable of creating change. And by change, I don't mean that you have to become a public leader, go into social service, go to the UN, but creating change in your own life, changing things on how on your in your own lifestyle, on how you see things, in it, by recognizing your privilege as a person. So I think that every person, when each person, when they start making these subtle changes in their own life, only then change on a bigger scale can be initiated. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. Well said. We'll continue with Anand Jayshetty.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to just appreciate all of us for being the youth of this country. And we are not only youth, but we are a dynamic youth for sure. And yes, actually, I have not planned what to talk, but let's say I'll be talking about the five factors, and I abbreviate them as goals, GOALS. So, first, G talks about like you should have the
Anand sir, if you don't mind, we'll just have an opening statement now. We'll come into
okay,
specifics.
okay,
And
okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
what is your opinion of how youth can be the change makers in the society?
Okay. So I think the major thing for any youth for changing everything, your country, and the globe, is that you should be aware of the journey of finding yourself. And finding yourself is the key, because otherwise we try to find out everything outside us. So finding us is the major journey. And yes, how to find it, I will come to that later in the next round of talk.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We have Shrutika with us. Is Shrutika there with us?
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
evening, everyone. I just like to would want to say today's International Youth Day is significant, not only because just like every other year UN releases the theme, and this year we have theme of food systems and maintaining planetary health, but because it is a reminder for all of us that world is changing and it is evolving faster than we think. And what is going to be relevant for youth is also the development of skills and practical realities to serve the community and to save the planet and make it a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, very well summarized, Shrutika, for your opening statement. So, to quote what UN Secretary General today has said, that young people cannot do role on their own. They need allies to make sure they're engaged, included, and understood better. So, three major problems that we look at in the youth today are they're not engaged in the processes, in all the processes, they're not included, or they're not understood well. So, if our panelists have any views on how youth can be engaged better, or how can they be included in all processes, or the problem of how youth are misunderstood, the floor is open to you. You may raise your hand, or you may start talking. Yes, Ria.
Yeah, Indra. So basically, today's the International Youth Day is celebrated not only for the purpose of discussing the achievements and the initiatives taken by the youth of the entire globe today, but also to have discussions and take out campaigns about how the socio-economic, the socio-political issues that our youth are facing, they need to be discussed so that the participation of youth is more efficient and it's more productive than the things that have been happening till now. People, because we need to understand that the youth has the capability of linking the technological developments with the present issues. The youth knows how to best use those technologies and modern developments in science and technology to solve the problems that we are facing as a entire globe today. So we need to discuss those issues really well first.
Thank you, Ria. As Ria mentions, youth has an access to technology and they can be better involved to do that. Anybody from the audience who would like to enlighten us about this topic, or would like to tell us more about how we can engage youth, or how youth can be understood better or involved better? If someone wants to say anything on this topic, you can raise your hand. Okay, so we'll move on with Anand, sir. He wanted to talk about some abbreviation that he has for the youth for today. Sir, over to you.
So I think the strategy would be like it's mine one, so we have the right to debate, obviously. But it would be like the word goals. So GOALS. So first G stands for literally having a goal. So like nowadays we do GCTC, we do our academics, we do whatnot, we want to go to UN. But the thing is that we have to prioritize our goals, and we really need to have a plan for it. So this is just one example, but it might occur at every stage of life. So having the prioritization of goals is the significant part. Then comes the objective. You may find that goals and objectives are similar, but literally they are not, because objective has some larger purpose. Because see, we have different leaders like the most popular amongst the youth is APJ Abdul Kalam sir, and then Lincoln. We have many of them. So what they are doing, they were having different goals for specific period. Let's say we can have goal for 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years. But the objective behind that goal is significant, and that is the crux of finding yourself. And we know that every great leader, beginning from Mahatma Gandhi to and Aurobindo Ghosh, and everyone has talked about you have to find out yourself. And see what Rabindranath Tagore was doing when he established Shantiniketan. It was an innovative project, not only in the field of education, but it was a different initiative to find yourself. So it was a new journey to give the idea about finding yourself. The third one is about what should be the attributes of youth. So here attributes can be many, but I will just give you one story. There were two persons with the let's say one was having good marks, so he was a meritorious person, and second one was like the average one. Both were sitting for the UPSC mains, and then there was the same question paper, but there was a difficult question. Then the attitude of the meritorious person was like I am the best one. Let's say I am the meritorious one. Till then, I have not been able to answer this question. And the
Arvind
attitude,
sir, can we have you on camera, please, if you don't have a technical glitch?
sure. So the attitude of the average person was, if I have not been able to answer this question, then it means not anybody is able to answer it. So this is about the attribute of youth. And I think two attributes which are very significant are the confidence and courage. So these two, if you have, then nobody can stop you. Coming back to the fourth factor, that is about the livability. So the duration of life, and not only the physical life, but the psychological and emotional is also very important. We are witnessing the increasing numbers of psychological cases, not only in India, but it is the trend. It is the increasing trend in this period of modernity. So we have to focus upon both the things, the physical well-being as well as the psychological well-being. And yes, because if you know what is the principle of this medicinal branch of homeopathy and Ayurveda, if you ask any person who has studied the homeopathy, he or she will tell you that your psychology is the root cause of every physical disease. So your emotional support and your psychological well-being is also as significant as your physical well-being. And the fifth one is what I have been talking repeatedly, is about the search. So searching yourself is very important, because you may find the solutions to the technological glitches, you may find the solutions to poverty, you may find the solutions to everything. But if you do not know what is your personality about, then you cannot do anything. Like at this, knowing yourself is the factor connecting all other four factors, if you think of it in deeper sense. And at the last, I would just highlight the case, or let's say the person who has been the case for search for entire world, and that was just a mystery, and till now it's mystery, and that is of Stephen Hawking. So you know that he faced the disease, and he was the only seventh person in the world facing that disease, and it was the rarest of the rarest one. And doctors had told him that you have very few months remaining, and he lost everything. But you know, The interesting part of his life story is when he was diagnosed with the disease, then doctors told him that you will be gradually losing every part of your body, and this is the essence of this disease. Then the only and immediate question from Stephen Hawking was, will it affect my brain? Doctor said no, you will be remaining only with brain and all other parts would be gradually you will be losing. So see the level of commitment and the clarity about the objective of life, and that is still a mystery. Even the medical branch do not know how this mystery happened. So finding yourself, and I think the GCTC is one of the platforms that where you can try to find yourself, and yes, that's it for this stage. So it's about the goal. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anand sir, for paraphrasing everything that you wanted to say in terms of an abbreviation. So let's move with the next with the Nandini Chauhan, what she has to say on this International Youth Day.
So actually, if we look at the world today, it is filled with hopelessness and despair, and it is more divided than ever. I would want, as a youth, what I would want to see, what I would want to see in my country is more accountability in the leaders that I've chosen. I want the people who are leading us to accept that they have, made mistakes and move on from them and not lie through their teeth. That okay, everything is well, everything is going well, and we are doing so well. I don't want that. I want real accountability. I want them to come and say that, okay, this is where we have gone wrong and this is how we are making changes. Not look at the youth as just mere voters, first timers, second timers, third timers, and just as people who have real hopes and aspirations, who are really the future of the world, and actually listen to us. A lot of people today have a lot to say, but they don't want to listen. I want the establishment to actually listen to us, and that is how you can also engage us. You asked how can the youth be engaged today. It cannot be engaged by creating these pseudo spaces where, on paper, where we have these spaces where people can come and talk, where people can come and share. And of course, the best way to engage people is to, make them vote. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about to actively listen and not create divisions between people. That, oh, if you have a particular opinion about something, and that is not aligned with our ideology and what we believe and what the government believes, and then you are something which, and then you don't have the right to speak at all, and then you shouldn't be listened to at all. So I don't want that. I want the government to actually view the student community as a whole and not try to create divisions between them. Also, I want the government and the society to actually, not take extremes and focus on moderation. Today, people are taking two extreme sides, and nobody is ready, willing to actually cooperate with the other, to engage with the other, to empathize with the other. I want that to happen. I want people to actually, take people's experiences into account, take people's voices into account, their agency into account. I want the government to be empathetic. I want the politicians to make sensible, sensitive comments, and I want them to be held accountable if they and be held strictly liable for the comments that they come and make, because they are representing us. I don't want a person who is insensitive, who is apathetic to say something and to be taken as representative of me. So that is what I want. I would also, take this opportunity to say, in the recent times, especially in this 1 week or 2 weeks, we have heard a lot about climate change and how it is real and how it is, fast. It is a real threat today. So I want our government to actually create a special research and development wing for climate change, to make real policies that engage young people, and that make real policies in the sense that in the mainstream, they try and inculcate climate change, so that each and every person knows climate change and uses climate change, the word, in the everyday life. Because until we do that, we cannot move ahead, and we cannot tackle with the real issue. So yes, of course, that. And lastly, for the young people, I would want to say that, like I said, just recognize the potential, the power that you have within yourself. You don't have to necessarily go out there and take be engaged in active politics to create change. You can do that from your own homes, from your own lives as well. And I also want to take this platform to say that I want every youth to not be apolitical. I've heard a lot of young people come and say that, oh, I don't care what is happening, I'm apolitical, I don't really know much about politics. I think being apolitical is being apathetic. I want people to be political, and and by political I don't mean that you go out on roads and create a ruckus, or be involved in riots, or be actively involved in protests. I don't mean that. I mean that just be aware of what is happening around you. Ask questions, because I remember when we were young, when we were when we were kids, when we were in school, we were so inquisitive. We had questions about almost everything. And as in when we grow up, when we face life, when we face questions of survival, something, those questions start getting down and down. So I want the youth to be actively engaged. When you don't engage with the world, you don't expect the world to actually listen to you. You cannot expect the politicians to come and listen and make policies and bring about change when you are not actively engaged. So I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Nandini. Nandini says, make climate change a real policy change, focus on moderation, and listen better, be sympathetic and sensitive, as the demands of the youth from her voice. So, Rishi, do you want to add to the demands of, do you have any other demands that being the voice of youth today to the society or to the
So
government?
one thing, Indrajita, you have asked is how can youth be more
Rishi?
engaged in, let it be policy making or anything. So I would say that youth should stop looking up to the older generations to make avenues of dialogue. They should take initiatives by themselves to engage in dialogue. It does not have to be a big rally or a conclave of that matter. It just has to be a conversation with someone who has different views from you, not to argue about who is right, but rather to come to a consensus of where both of you are wrong. And I think if we do that, the world will be a better place. And that's something the youth can do, because we have less responsibilities compared to the older generations. And I think we need to make it our responsibility to reduce the differences that we have created for so long in the history. And when it comes to holding our older generations accountable for the mistakes they have done, let it be climate change or anything, I would just like to say that rather than holding someone accountable, we need to make corrective actions against them. Rather than say and pinpoint to a country or a group of individuals that this is your problem, you provide them a solution, and not engage in argument, because arguments will be never won. You might end it, but they can never be won. And the greatest people in our history have made it into the books, not for winning an argument, but rather for taking corrective actions against the problems caused by others. They owned it and made corrective actions towards these things. And I think we need to take into considerations what mistakes have been done before us and take corrective actions for them, rather than trying to hold someone accountable and wasting our time on things that will never happen. we should see the future ahead, and we should take corrective actions starting now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashid. Suicide rates in India is it's been one of the highest. And if you look at the age range within which the suicide rates have been highest, it has been among the youth. So, Shrutika, can you reflect upon this idea that why today's youth are maybe due to a lot of situations are taking suicide as an option? Can you please tell us that what are the circumstances that is making today's youth to choose suicide as an option when like seeing it as the last option?
Indra, actually, I would like to make a comment on what Nandini said. So, can I do
Yes,
that
yes,
first?
please go for it.
Yeah. So, I just want to
Shrutika, can
say,
we have you on camera, please, and remaining also? Let's see the
yeah,
face of youth today.
I've turned it on. Maybe it's not showing because of network connectivity.
Okay, okay, no problem. Can we have others on the camera, please?
So,
Thank you. You may continue, Shrutika.
yeah, so I was saying that we need to promote ways in which youngsters can be engaged in positive contribution to the community, and there's also a necessity for youth to come together, engage in activities with diverse needs and interest. There's a need for youth to participate in decision making process and freely express themselves, but for this youth to come together, to engage in decision making, to engage in governance issues, we need to make sure that there is a safe public space for their participation. uh, in activities, in the sustainable, in achieving sustainable development goals, we need to make sure that there is a safe digital space, for them to interact virtually across the borders with everyone and anyone. We need to make sure that there is a well planned physical space that can help to accommodate the needs of youth, especially the ones who are suffering from any kind of violence. We need to accommodate the needs of youth who have like issues like very basic, like lack of basic amenities, formal education. So we need to create a safe space for that. We need to at least give them a platform to express their opinions, to enable them, to engage them in creating initiatives, taking participation in that. So I think I would like to say this, that there's a need for platform of any kind, a physical kind, a digital kind, and a public space that should be there for youth if we want them to be the change makers. So that's what I want to say.
Give youth the platform is what Shrutika wants to say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how social media has been a major factor in uniting the youth of today. We look at a world which is disintegrated, which is broken down into many pieces on many issues, be it race, be it communalism, many other issues. So social media has been a platform where youth have been able to raise their issues. They have been able to channelize, make protests. A hashtag makes a lot of importance in today's. So you could reflect upon any situation or anything that comes to in your mind where social media has played a huge role in youth developments of today. Ria, if you want to go forward, otherwise, if anybody has analogy on this, can start with it.
Yeah, Indra. So basically, I'd like to link social media with the previous question that you had said, and then I'll reflect upon the its role in development of youth. Firstly, you said the number of suicides are increasing every day, right? Social media has a very huge role to play in that because today's world has become very unrealistic. People, the youth is not able to understand that most of the part, 99.9% of the part on social media is not real. It is always filtered, and they assume it to be someone else's reality, and then they compare their own life with that filtered reality, which is reality not even 1%. It is not the reality, and people are not able to face their failures, or maybe their real life. They are not able to accept that, because they think that somebody else is living this life. Oh my god, they have so much money, or they have this kind of education, they have this kind of standard of living. I have nothing. Maybe I'll become nothing, maybe I'll remain nowhere. And because of that, the will to do some hard work, or will to even try, is totally stopped then and there. And this is the reason why that they think that it's okay, we'll just give up on life, and maybe that is the only solution. Secondly, I think parents are also a reason. Many parents, not everybody's parents are very understanding, and many parents think that this uh, culture of comparing unka beta, unki beti, and all these things, these play a very huge factor, because they are not able to understand that those children in their life, they are not living a life where everything is stable, or maybe they are not able to face it. This is the reason that most of the suicides happen. Also, so much of competitiveness, jobs are decreasing, everybody is so unsatisfied. Everybody thinks that, and this is because of the increasing population. The global population is increasing exponentially. The jobs and the facilities are not. Even if we talk about, let's talk about today's 2021's International Youth Day theme is about the transforming food systems, right? About the youth innovation for human and planetary health. So even if we think of all the sustainable methods to increase and to have the best quality of foods, it will not ensure the well-being of all. It will not ensure until and unless it is linked to the education, until and unless it is linked to the health facilities, until and unless it is linked to climate change. All of these are interconnected. If we do not focus on all of these, we cannot get a solution to transforming these food systems. If we So to some extent, we may say it's even gender equality in this, because even today women are not given the right amount of nutrition, because they do not matter as much as the men do. So this is how I take about it. Secondly, the question that you asked, how social media has helped us develop. uh, Social media obviously has helped us develop, because in today's time, in globalization's time, we see that we can talk to anybody. Maybe people are, during this time of lockdown, many people are sitting and having classes with people from the US, with children from the US, and they see how they are exposed to. I had my class with them, a webinar, and I saw that they had literally have the practical education that all of us lack. They know how it works, because they have seen it from first hand experience. We mostly are based on theoretical part will not help. It has to be practical. To understand someone's problem, it has to be more empathy rather than sympathy. That is it from my side. I'd like someone else to go ahead.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you for reflecting
Yeah.
on.
Can I?
Yeah, Nandini, you can go forward if you want to comment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, sure, go for it.
Indra, you talked about how hashtags and how social media really plays a big role, and I think that it's correct to some extent that yes, social media really helps in amplifying our voices and amplifying movements, get the conversation started. But I also feel that the faster things go up on social media, the faster they end also. The conversation also fizzles out more faster, and something new comes up every day, every week. I mean, I'm not sure if many people know, but in Pakistan, what happened in the Noor Muqaddam's case, there was another hashtag, and in India itself, there are so many new hashtags, there are so many new um, agendas, so many new things that keep on happening. But after a few days, after a few weeks, everything fizzles out, and some new trends and some new things come. So I feel that until and unless we keep the conversation going in our own personal lives, in our own friend circles, in our own environment, I don't think that social media can play a very big role. I mean, of course, it plays a momentary role, but I think that the real change, of course, is offline. Until and unless you do that, you just become another trend, you just become another hashtag, and it all reduces you. I mean, you reduce your activism to only armchair activism, as people call it. So I think the conversation needs to be kept alive, and there is, as Rishik said, we have to take it on us to keep the dialogue going. So we have to take that responsibility in our own personal lives, and until we do that, it's just it won't be beneficial.
Thank you, Nandini. Like you said, we should be able to be in a situation to differentiate what's a propaganda and what's the reality, and should be wise enough to know which side to take it. So, an enlightened youth is a demand for today. A youth which is vocal, youth which is knows its issues and is also ready to talk about the issues. So that is the kind of youth that we are looking for today. Uh, Let us talk a little bit about the today's this year's theme of International Youth Day, which majorly, if you look at as a major theme, it talks about food security, or how we can have a transforming food system to have better kind of food security. So if you look at India's situation itself, if you look at the global hunger index, we at a rank of I think 97 out of 104 countries. So which is a very horrible state for India. So, what are the kind of changes that we can bring at individual level, and what are the kind of changes that we can bring at policy level to deal with the issue? In that aspect, can we have what the youth of today thinks from Anand sir? A little bit from you, please.
Yeah, sure, Indrajita. And before going to the theme specifically, one thing only about the social media that I think very crucial one is that look, what is the advantage of social media is it has facilitated to reach to every person at any corner of the world. But the disadvantage is that this reach ends at reaching at the person. So the need is for the further deliberation. And what used to happen in social movements, which have been eroded after this emergence of social media, there was deliberation, there was conversation, and there was understanding different aspects. But what happens in social media? Social media has the limitations of deliberation. So this is advantage as well as one of the disadvantages. About the food security, basic thing, and that is we are forgetting to respect the food, because we have forgot to cook the food, because recently Zomato was enlisted in the Indian stock market, and you see the response. You see the response to different such food delivery systems. Until and unless you go to the market, you negotiate the price, you cook the food, you are not going to respect the food. And this is related with the accessibility of food for others as well. It's not only about respecting your own, but yes, respecting the food for others as well. Second thing, once you respect the food, you will be taking the food as per your need only. We have forgotten something which is very important, and that is the nutritional value. We want pizza, but we do not know how much nutritional things it gives to us. One thing. Second thing, once we do not know the nutritional value, then we are like consuming the food unnecessarily, and it has effects for others. So the value, and yes, it might be the abstract part, but until and unless you have the value, we cannot commit ourselves to the action. So I think the most significant part is here, that respecting the food. Thank you.
Can I go after that?
Thank you. Yeah, Meda, I'll take a closing statements and then I'll come to audience if you don't mind.
No, no, like I wanted to remark
You want to
on
add to
what
something
Anand
he
said.
said?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
because
okay,
I'll
go
keep
on. Yeah.
forgetting. I had something to add, with everyone's
No,
statement, but I
yeah, yeah,
kept
sure,
forgetting.
sure, sure,
So,
sure.
like,
Well,
about
Medha ma'am, we will be taking the, I mean, the comments and all the questions just after everyone have
okay, okay,
spoken.
sure, sir. I'll write it down.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
okay.
So, like Anand sir said, today's youth needs to know what they're consuming and have healthier food. So, on that note, can we have the closing statements from all our panelists, starting with Riya Raj, about how do you want, what is the way forward for youth today, or what are the things that you want to see getting better for youth, or personally at your level individually?
Just like Rishik said, I feel dialogue is the key. Dialogue between the government, the citizens, the youth. Dialogue will be the point where the discussions will lead to the acceptance and the acknowledgement of the problems. People don't know that this is the problem. People don't know that people are suffering. Like until the time until now we all of us think that there is gender equality now, the steps are increasing, but when you go on the ground level and when you talk to those people, from my personal experience I'll tell you, there are women who think that it's okay for their husbands to beat them, it's okay for, we do not even take that, because I myself don't take that as an issue. Myself feel that no, now this world doesn't consist of people where people are beating each other without any particular reason behind that, just because there is a gender difference they think they have the authority to beat you. In that case it's the same for all of us. Like until and unless we discuss a particular thing, we'll not know what the problem is. So discussion between the, just like that, we saw how Greta Thunberg, like she's such a small girl and she initiated the process of Fridays for Future, and the entire world knows about it today. There have been small initiatives related to whatever those small initiatives are, even people planting one more tree, and that is very much for this world, because that is what the globe needs right now. So I think dialogue is the key, and the youth needs to be more aware to make themselves a part of the political thing and not think about यहाँ मेरे काम की कुछ चीज नहीं है. You have to be a part of the thing to bring the change. You have to initiate the change to see the change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ria, for reiterating the point that we need to engage today's youth. Can we have the closing statements from Rishi, please?
As all the speakers over here have emphasized on dialogue and engaging with the youth, for my closing statement, I would like to say that we need to engage and understand that there are differences, and we need youth, more importantly, needs to understand that not everything they see is real. And in today's world, we see a facade of propaganda, facade of fake news, and we cannot really differentiate between what is truth and what is false. That being said, coming to the this year's the issue of discussion, the food security. I think there is nothing a single individual can do other than sympathizing on this issue. But collectively, we can solve this issue. Yes, it starts from one individual to create a collective action, but maybe a society of 100 people or 10 people, for that matter of fact, opening a food bank, it would help. I think in the case of food security, the youth needs to represent the unity and stitch together the diversity and create a solution that actually is action quantifiable. Thank you.
So, youth is where the action should begin, is what Rishi wants to say. Can we have the closing statements from Nandini?
Yeah, so my closing statements would be for the youth to be political, be empathetic, read more, engage more, be open to conversations, be open to the fact that there are different viewpoints, and engage with them. Don't label people and don't divide, don't polarize any issue. Don't do that. And yeah, be more mindful of what you're consuming. what you're taking from nature. So thank you.
Thank you, Nandini, for already making it very, very concise for us. Uh, we have the closing statements from Anand sir. I think, yeah, Anand sir, can we have the closing statements?
My closing statement would be just one sentence, and that is find yourself, solve everything. Thank you.
So, can we have the closing statements from Shrutika Chauhan, please?
Yes, Indra, to answer your question about the government policies, so I think we can do more on increased budget, technological and research and development, to ensure a food security, because we know the with world's population is expected to rise exponentially in next 30 to 50 years. So we all know that making more food more sustainably will not going to is not going to ensure the human and planetary well-being. So we need to do more. So I think we need to do more on technological and research and development. On the policy perspective, I would like to say, the universal pds system that India has, so we need to do more on that. Then we also need to add a nutritional approach to that. We need to make sure that the food people are getting, it's balanced nutrition. Then we need to enhance the social security, like for example, the risk associated with farming. They don't have like a income support, they don't have income security. So we need to provide them with a proper income support. We government need to provide them with the sustained farm credit, and this is I think what India can do. And also India need to it's a leader of a developing nation, so India can move forward with creating or या फिर you know mm, we need to make a global community this need to understand that we all collectively need to work on it, and India can be the leader of developing nations, making some different moves in this regard. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, Shrutika, for saying us that if we can work collectively and if we can use technology and with the involvement of youth today, probably the food security issues in India can be made a better. So now we can. The floor is open to questions and comments from the audience. Let me start from Medha Chaudhary. She wanted to add something. You may ask questions to the panelists, or you may give your statements. Thank you, Medha.
Thank you, Indra. First of all, I'd like to say that you guys spoke so well. I was like, I wanted to add some points, but like as this next speaker came, he or she added something, and I was like, okay, that's what I wanted to say. And then now Shrutika added something on food security that I wanted to say. So you guys, like, it was really great listening to you all. And first of all, if I start from food security, I also want to add like our population aspect in this, because like India's population, increasing population, and how food is limited, the land is limited, and then the farmers perspective that Shrutika has added. And sir was like talking about Aditya sir was talking about life and suicides and social media. So like I had like about the increasing numbers of suicides. So I feel that with increasing technology and outreach, I guess like suicides were also there, like before social media, before we got to know that okay, there is an increasing number of suicide, but people did not know that there are like suicides happening. And then also like there are a lot of factors that are contributing, even if it's youth of India or like people in general. If we are talking about suicides, like the like poverty, like farmers committing suicides. And if we talk about youth in general, I feel like we are talked about social media. Because of social media, I feel that people get to know more about suicides. But like I feel that suicides were happening earlier, so there is like nothing like today's current youth is involving more like towards suicide, and like are not happy with their own life and are nihilistic or like sadist. Okay, so that's the one point that I wanted to make. Another point is like, okay, like today's world, like the competitive world, like okay, everywhere there's competition. The population is increasing. We do not have enough job opportunities. Like for example, like students committing suicides in Kota for like preparing for NEET and JEE. So like that's these are all of these external factors. I feel that they were not there before, and now they're increasing on the youth of youth of people. And Rishik talked about how like we don't have as much as responsibility like as our like older generation, but I feel that responsibility on us is increasing. Okay, we have far more responsibility. We have responsibility for like increasing population or changing climate, and I feel that situation in future is like going to impact us more than anyone else. So like we have the responsibility more than anyone else. And then like if we talk about social media and like all of you talked about social media, I want to add one point that like especially during the pandemic, social media help people a lot. People were literally posting, okay, I have the numbers, and like every single person was helping. At least like in my social media circle, everyone was helping each other, like trying to get like certified leads and all. That way, social media helped. Like for example, the farmers' protest. Okay, we could not go outside during the COVID, and also like the other point that Ria had made, like because of social media, some like issue will start and it will like in 2 or 3 days no one will talk about it. Like it will rise and it will go down. For example, the farmers movement, like people were talking about farmers like for so long, posting about it, and for a month, like social media was flooded with farmers videos. But these farmers are still there. Okay, they are still there, they are suffering. So like this is the obviously the downside of social media. But because of COVID, like students could not like actively participate because of like all of these constraints. I also feel that social media had played a lot of like positive role towards this. And I also feel that we can really use social media to pressurize a government to make the government or like the authorities responsible for their actions. And like Nandini also like talked about taking responsibilities, like making the people who are in like in the post or like in the higher, making the higher authorities responsible. I feel that social media plays a lot of like a bigger role in it. We can pressurize, like we literally pressurized the government that okay, I know that it's wrong that external factors like other countries and nations and Beyonce and others are tweeting about it, but we made an impact. Okay, we spread the news even though people have different views about it. Okay, it's not right for external forces to interfere in India's internal matters, but that's a different story. But at least social media played a lot of role in it. And I commented on Rishik's point earlier. I forgot about it, but like, I feel that social media provides a like a bigger platform for that. So yeah, I feel yeah, I forgot a lot of things, but yeah, that's what I wanted to
No
say.
problem, Nida. You've beautifully told us how youth can make a difference by making better use of resources, be it social media or be it the kind of technology that we have today. So before we close, can we talk about the issues that today's youth faces, be it about peer pressure or depression, getting bullied, or drug and alcohol abuse? If someone wants to share some of their views on the issues that youth today faces, I think we have Rishi to give us a few comments on it.
Yeah, so Indraj, I don't think this is something our youth, today's generation faces as something as a new problem. It is something that has been carried on forward to us. These whatever drug addictions, peer pressure, whatever we want to say, these are simply that has been passed on to us. Maybe the fact that people are able to express themselves sitting in a room around the world and reach to people around the world increases peer pressure. Earlier, peer pressure was from people who you know. Now it's from people who you cannot see, who you have never met, but you can see every day, and you think you are a part of their lives. And I think one important thing I want to say, and something that I've been told by my professors and a lot of people in my along this time, is that learn to say no. I think we all need to learn to say no to things that are not good for us. Today I see in US that people are vocally talking about use of cannabis for reproductive purposes. I'm not a scientist, but I'm not going to comment on the scientific part of it. But people also say that alcohol consumption or drug consumption is good to an extent. But where is the extent? We do not know. We are simply incapable to understand where is that extent, or where is the line to which we can consume these drugs or whatever, or even for peer pressure. What acts can we make that are considered to be fun, a prank, and what is not a prank, and what is not fun? So we need to understand, we need to review ourselves every time, and we need to know who has the right intentions towards us, though it is very hard. And we need to persistently say no to things that are harmful to us, that give us a temporary satisfaction or pleasure, but in the long run have repercussions that we cannot face on ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rishi. Does anybody wants to talk about any other issues that the youth of today face?
I'll just add that, yeah, Anand sir,
Yeah,
please.
Ria, please go forward. Ria, you can talk.
Please go ahead.
Achha, okay, so I want to say that the youth needs to stop following the trend, and they need to choose their own decision, make their own decision, choose their own path based on a cost benefit analysis. We use cost benefit analysis in a very technical term, and we need to do it for ourselves. We do not need to follow the trend. The trend may be very attractive, but it will not always be beneficial for you, and we need to make our own decision. Apart from that, I'll just answer to Medha's point. Like she said that during the second wave of COVID, mainly the second wave, because in the first wave, nobody, like, we took it more seriously during the first wave, but actually the second was more dreadful and we did not know that it is coming. So you said that social media helped us reach contacts and then helped us a lot. Oh, definitely it helped. Like I'd say, out of the 100 people, even if 2 people got their contacts straight and they could help each other, that was very nice for everybody. But I think apart from that, the fraud, the people were literally taking, I mean, they were looting people, and then the cyber uh, cyber thefts that we say, those were happening at such a big number. Yeah, Anand sir, you want to add something?
Yes, sir. Anand, sir, please go forward.
Yeah, I think at the core of all these like challenges, frauds, whatever we are talking about, is that we have forgotten two things. One is asking the question why. That was indirectly being addressed by Ria when she was talking about the analysis, hmm? Cost and benefit analysis. So we have forgotten to ask the question why. We want to just flow in the river, and we are not ready to go against the river. So that is one thing. And second thing is about we have forgotten the legacy of Indian culture. That is something about the moral education. Until and unless we ask questions to ourselves, we are not going to find solutions to anything. So, like we have different principles, and one is like honesty. We have just forgotten, and we have the attitude like chalta hai. We have to do away with this attitude of chalta hai, but we have to replace it by asking kyun chalta hai. So that that is the most important thing. And apart from something like what we are discussing today, I think I would like to, and this is not the formal part, by the way, and it has something to be related with the youth. So it's about the leadership, and I would like to congratulate and say thanks. You can say anything. I'm saying congratulate because we consider all of us as family. So, Aditya sir, thank you for giving us this opportunity, and I am saying thank you as well as congratulating you because you understood two things on this occasion. One is we have to talk something about youth, and this is the occasion. And second thing, you gave us opportunity to find ourselves. So this was one of the opportunities. And three things I would like to say that is my observation about Aditya sir, and that are the lessons for all of us as well. One is being down to earth. So we know that GCTC is the one of the let's say largest think tanks, and that is also within 5 years. So, but he does not show ever that he is the heart of GCTC. He is always like, no experts, we interns, we are family and everything. So being down to earth. Second thing about him is that of trying to learn something new. So we know that here we are from different backgrounds. Someone is doing graduation, someone is doing PhD like me, someone are well-established persons. So still we are on the same platform, and he is trying to know everyone. So that is the second best aspect of him. And third thing, you may have heard something about the Craig D. Martino. Craig D. Martino. He is a Divyang in our terms, but a disabled rock climber, and he faced an accident, and he had to lose his leg. Still, he is one of the most successful rock climbers, and now he is like inspiring and doing the leadership of other disabled rock climbers. So what I want to say is that Aditya sir learns from the failures. I am not older here, but I have been since last 2 months. But I know that two conferences have been postponed as of now. But he is like, nahi, nahi, theek hai, we will learn from it. He has never scolded anybody to that extent if compared with our mistakes. But yes, I think he learns from every failure, and we have to learn these three attributes from him. So thank you, sir, for giving us this opportunity, and this is on behalf of all of us.
Thank you, sir. Aditya sir, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anand sir, for putting our voices.
Question for Anand sir, can I ask?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, sure.
Yeah. So Anand sir, you talked about like why you posed the question why are people like this, and you told us people need to be more honest. And you earlier you talked about courage and getting to know yourself. Once you know yourself, you can do anything. So can you tell us how can we know ourselves, and how can we encourage people to be more honest, and how can we stop these kind of frauds that we are talked about to be lesser in amount? How can we do it in your opinion?
Ma'am, as I'm not much experienced than all of you, but I would like to just put forth what I think, and that is, I think we need to have very strong moral base, because see, we are talking about when we are talking about morality, it is nothing different or nothing abstract, but it is all about some of the universal values like being non-corrupt, being truthful, and these are the things you may sound like belonging to older generation, not particularly you, but see, the thing is how much we are committed to these values, our lives would be more sustainable. And if you take any challenge, any problem that you think the youth is facing, you will find the solution in moral values only. We may be committed to different actions, we may do the social service, but until and unless we do not know why we are doing this, we are going to reach nowhere. And so I think whatever moral values we have, like honesty, being truthful, being non-corrupt, you have to just stick to it until your last breath. So if we are following this, this is the journey of knowing ourselves. This is nothing different than this. I do not know whether I have answered fully or not, but this is just my opinion.
Thank you, Anand sir, for those words of wisdom. Do we have anyone from the audience to have any questions or to bring up any issue? Because otherwise, we'll close the session. Anand sir, you want to add something to the session that all the panelists have said?
No, ma'am, I think I have talked
Oh,
everything.
I'm sorry, Aditya sir. I meant Aditya sir. Aditya sir, do you want to add something to everything? Okay, Daksha, do you have something to say on this topic? Daksha, do we have Daksha with us?
No, she left the meeting.
Okay, Shivanshika, do you want to add something? Okay. So I want to close with a statement that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has said, youth is like a nuclear power, they just need a direction. So like all you guys were saying, they just need the right direction, be it in being about political matter or social media or any other aspect. So let's all hope the youth of today finds its right direction. With that, I'm closing for today. I was the moderator for today, I'm Indrachita Padukon. Thank you for this great session.
Thank you so much.